Hello and welcome to the Tea Party Hardy channel for a review of Star Wars Disney Gallery Season 2, Episode 2 of The Mandalorian. And it is their finale that they are going over. Now, see, the first episode dropped months ago, and then Episode 2 dropped, I don't know, a few weeks ago. And so, boy, are they trickling it out, like, really slow. Sometimes I'll, like, let the shows build up so I can watch them all in a series, you know, like how some channels do that. So anyways, I don't think they're going to do it. All right, now, what this show offers you is this is another one of their episodes that delves deep into the behind the scenes of the technological methods that they use to, in this case, do Luke Skywalker's face. And it is if you're into that stuff, wow, it's as good as the one from last season where they showed you how they create the fake set with the giant screens and how they do the whole thing with that. This is the same level of of the new toys they're using, and they talk about the different toys they're using to do the facial modifications to make him look younger, and they show the different avenues they had available and how they used each one to accomplish their goals. The huge benefit of having such an enormous budget to play with to be able to do those experiments. And so that part of the show is just really fun. The interviews with Mark Hamill are really fun. His voice is way off in the interview, so I'm guessing he was just finishing up with illness or something because he does not sound like himself. And you get to see what his backyard looks like. And I'm just guessing, and that's all I could do. I was like trying to scope it out. I was like, where is his backyard? And it's either in Laurel Canyon or it's in the Beverly Hills side. So I don't know which side of Beverly Hills it's on. If it's on the front side, which is Beverly Hills, or if it's on the back side in the valley in the Laurel Canyon area. I'm not sure. Because if he's in the Laurel Canyon area, he's up way high. I know that doesn't. But if you're in town and you want to visit his house, there you go. And you should look up William Shatner's house and where he lives. It's crazy, but that's a different story for a different day. Anyway, so that's the good stuff. Now, the bad stuff. For some reason, they took it upon themselves in this episode to spend a lot of time, like 5-6 minutes, talking about how you can create these artificial people that are based on real people, both vocally, which is a different series of programs than they do for the visuals of the de-aging. And they said, and again, they just went off and off and off. And basically what they're saying is, and they didn't actually use these terms because they tried to make it sound apolitical. Fine, appreciate that. But the truth is they're trying to warn people, look, bad guys can get a hold of this and make somebody say anything they want because the somebody isn't the somebody, it's computer-generated somebody, and it's nasty dangerous, and it is. But that's not a new topic. If you're familiar with deepfake and the videos that they made not long ago with Tom Cruise, showing how incredibly accurate they can be. If you do that with a world leader, and you have them threatening other people, yeah, that can be a real problem. If you do that to blackmail somebody to exploit them for cheating on their spouse, you can see how that can be used in a lot of different directions. So anyways, they spent a lot of time on it, and I'm not gonna double that because I just are you just trying to fill the time because this isn't really relevant to your show? But apparently they thought it was, but it just seemed like out of place to me. And anyways, if this is the last one, then fine. It was a nice end. You get to see it felt like a lot more backstage stuff with the Mark Hamill things. And when you see Mark Hamill in the costume doing the prep shots, and then they have the other actor, the look-alike actor, whoa! Even Mark Hamill's like, dude, that really does look a lot like me. And he doesn't, but he does from the corner of your eye. From the corner of your eye, it's spot on. Directly, it's like, no, but wow! When you're just glancing at it, it's like, holy mackerel, he really does look just like him. Again, the benefit of a huge budget where you can do these cattle calls to find somebody that looks just like you. And for somebody who watched the episode and you see the young Luke Skywalker come in there and do all the stuff he does, and then you see the 70-year-old Mark Hamill in the costume doing it, it's like, that's That's a visual shock. And I'm not trying, it's just like, that does not look like the way it looks. So kudos to them for doing such a good job. And the interviews with the other people on the show weren't many in this one. There really weren't. But they were valuable, the ones they brought in, so that was nice. Yes, they talked about who still hasn't been fired and is still destroying the Star Wars brand name. For me watching this, it brought back good memories of The Mandalorian, Season 1 and Season 2. But I haven't bothered with the other stuff. I've learned my lesson. Disney doesn't care. Disney just wants to make a buck, and they will just shove in their agenda wherever they want. The fact that this series was able to avoid that, and they do talk about being able to avoid it a lot at the beginning of the episode, and staying true to the Star Wars vision. It's like, yes, it did, and it was rewarded mightily for it. The other ones didn't. They blew it off, and they suffered for it. One last thing before I sign off, which will be they do talk about John Williams and how they finally brought John Williams into the show, and how they saved it as much as they saved Luke Skywalker, and how it allowed it to have such a bigger payoff. I couldn't agree more. It really did work in that regard, and it did make it all the sweeter, because the fellow they had doing the score for the show, as I mentioned in the other videos from last year, the Western funky style they do on it's like, you kind of get used to it, but it's purposefully so far from John Williams that it's like, why did you have to go so far? You could have gone with somebody who, I'm trying to think of his name. There's like 3 composers that are just from the 90s in particular that just really knew how to nail movie scores. The guy who did Casper, who is the same fellow that did Waterworld, that also did Braveheart. I hope that's the same guy. I get 2 of them mixed up. And then did Star Trek 2. All those guys could just, any one of those would be a better emulation, in my ear's opinion, and that's all it is, of the music they landed up going with. And I'm not saying that the music that they went with is poor music. It wasn't, I didn't like the style for the genre. But, to each their own. They clearly did, and they spent the bucks on it. So, and, it was, the composer is the roommate of the guy who made the show, so it's not what you know, it's who you know. Anyways, that was Season 2, Episode 2, and definitely give it a look for the behind the scenes, definitely give it a look for the technical stuff, just like the other one where they show you how the extra big screens work to create the illusion of the stage. They show you some lighting things, and this one is like, ooh, we are in the future, and wow, welcome to it. Thank you for watching, and speaking of the future, we will see you in the future.